Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to science. I decided that doing both social studies and science in 1 week is stretching the content out super far, and it's kind of hard to remember when you only do a little bit for on one day, and then you don't do anything with it for another week. So I went ahead and I cut our social studies unit into two. We completed the government section, and you took your test on it on Thursday, last week. And so now we're going to do science 2 days, okay? We're going to finish up our water cycle unit on science, and then we're going to go back to social studies for 2 days a week. And we'll finish up the part of government. We finished up the government part, but we have to talk about the citizenship side. So we'll finish that up after we do the water cycle. Today, for the water cycle, we first have to watch a short video. So here's that.
What are clouds made of? All right, my scientists, let's figure this out together. Okay? Why don't we take a look at some pictures of clouds? Oh, cool. All right, here's a picture of a cloud. Can any of you describe it? It's big and white. Yeah, and puffy. Yeah, and sometimes you see those clouds on sunny days, so it's probably not a rain cloud. Right, but it could become a rain cloud. What? Really? It could? Well, clouds are actually made out of teeny tiny bits of water. We call it water vapor. And when the bits of water vapor come together, they make a white puffy cloud. What? Clouds are really just a bunch of water? Right. But let's see what happens when more and more water vapor comes together. Can you guess what happens? Cloud gets heavier and heavier. And when that heavy water falls out of a cloud, what do you think it's called? Rain. Very good. And do you know what that rain becomes when it's really cold? Snow. Ice. Right. And we call rain, snow, and ice precipitation. Precipitation. Oh. Let's go to the window. Let's see how the rain clouds are doing. Oh, cool. The clouds are really dark now.
All right. So the two key words that I want you to pick up out of that video is one, water vapor. That's what our clouds are made of, is little droplets of water where they come together and they create the cloud. And as the cloud gets more and more of those water vapor droplets, the cloud becomes heavier, as she said, and then it starts to rain or snow if it's cold enough. But what was that big long word that she called rain and snow? Do you remember? Precipitation, right? Precipitation is what we call all of the water that falls from the sky. So it could be rain, it could be snow, it could be ice, it could even be hail or sleet. Precipitation is what all of those things fall under, okay? So today, in order for us to remember that, we're going to get out our science notebook. I'm going to make myself smaller. So here's my science notebook. I'm using, remember the notebook that we put in our engineering design process and our scientific method. Do make sure that you have these and remember these because those will be important for you to know. If you're not using a notebook, a piece of paper that you're hopefully keeping in a folder where all of your science materials live so it's easy to find. For today, we're going to turn our notebook the long way. So we have the long edge going across the top. And the first thing that I want to do is find that center hole. And I want to draw a line down the middle of my paper to create two sides. Okay? I'm using a marker so that way it shows up a little bit better. But I'm going to have to draw, so I'm about to use a pencil. On the left-hand side, I would like you to draw a cloud. draw a cloud. So we're talking about the water cycle. We're talking about where the water comes from that comes down to Earth and how it gets up in the clouds. We're going to talk about that too. So from my cloud, I'm drawing some water droplets. I'd like you to draw some water droplets from your cloud as well. And then I'm going to even draw some snowflakes. I have some big snowflakes. We saw snow just this past weekend, right? That was super fun and exciting. Okay, so after we're done, if you want to take and color in your cloud, remember that rain clouds are a little bit gray, so you could use a gray crayon. You could color your water droplets blue. And if you wanted to, you could go over your snow. To make my snow, I just made little stars, kind of. They're more like asterisks. And remember that both of these forms of liquid falling from the sky is called precipitation. A super important word for us to remember. So we are going to label our picture because just like with our writing, remember when we were talking about drawing detailed pictures to go with our writing, we want this to be a detailed picture too. So I have my cloud, I have my precipitation falling from my cloud. Now I'm going to add a label, and my label is going to be precipitation. A really long word. Okay. Precipitation. So here's a picture for us to remember what precipitation is. And then on this side, I'm going to write, if I can get the lid off my marker, precipitation, again, a little bit bigger. Precipitation. Okay. Now, I'm going to draw a line underneath here. Okay. And I'm going to draw a line going down on each side of here. And I'm going to turn my book this way. So this is precipitation. Precipitation can come down in two forms. It can come down as a solid and as a liquid. So I'm just going to write solid and liquid, and then I'm going to draw a square around these and make my line come all the way down to the square. I'm using colors for this, you don't have to. The first time I attempted this video, it was in pencil, but then I decided to be colorful. I didn't realize that the marker was brown. Alright, so we have precipitation. It comes down from the sky in two forms. It is either a solid or a liquid. Now, an example of a solid in precipitation. What is a solid form of precipitation? Ice, right? So underneath here, I'm going to write EX. That means example. And I'm going to write ice. If it is cold enough, our water that falls from the sky comes down as ice. Soon it will be cold enough for that to happen. Not yet. We also can have precipitation fall down from the clouds as a liquid. So I'm going to write EX again, for example. And what is a liquid example of precipitation? Rain, right? Just rain. Rain is water falling from the sky. Okay. And a way that we can remember this is a liquid. We usually think of things that we can drink. Our water is a liquid, milk is a liquid, And then we think of liquids because they take the shape of the container that they're in. They don't have a shape of their own. And then a solid is anything that we can touch or that we can feel. So like the table, our laptop, the floor, the chair. So many things are solid. So if I pick something up off the ground and I can hold it in my hand and it has a shape in my hand, it's going to be a solid. So ice is going to be the solid that falls from the clouds as precipitation. Hail is another one that's a solid that falls from the clouds as precipitation, but as a solid because I can pick up the hail pieces off the ground. Snow is a solid, but snow is a light solid because our body temperature when we touch the snow makes it melt. So it is a solid, but it didn't quite go along my example of picking it up off the ground. So keep your science notebook handy with you so that way you can remember. Remember the real long word of precipitation. Remember that clouds are made up of water vapor and that precipitation can happen in two ways, as a solid and as a liquid. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys.